It is my great honor to introduce Rabbi Glatstein. Rabbi Glatstein is a huge Talmud Chacham, world famous. Anybody who got to hear Shiurim over Shabbos can see. I've listened to his Shiurim before, but hearing it live is really, really unbelievable. I checked on Torah Anytime today, and I couldn't find anybody who has more Shiurim than he does. I think he's got 10,000 Shiurim or more on there. He traveled across the country to be with here for the Shabbos, to be mechazik us, and to speak here tonight. Without further ado, Rabbi Glatstein.
Those who were fortunate to attend today's Hachnasa Sefer Torah were witness to a historic event. The streets of the Valley of Los Angeles were on fire. Not a fire of destruction, a fire of inspiration, a fire of spirituality, a fire of the eternal flames of Kavod HaTorah, a fire that reflects the fire of Torah that burns every single day in Yeshiva Ketana of Los Angeles. They had the pleasure to see firsthand the beautiful tefillos, the beautiful learning in Yeshiva Ketana, and I would like to thank my very dear friends, Rabbi Rubinstein, Rabbi Davidowitz, for affording me the opportunity to participate in this unforgettable Shabbos, in this unforgettable Hachnasa Sefer Torah, which is dedicated to the memory of the father of my dear friend, Rabbi Yeshua Rubinstein, Noah, and all of his siblings, Le'iloi Nishmas, Rabbi Rafal ben Rabbi Moshe, Began Eden Tehei Menuchasai, and I am confident that today's Ksiva Sefer Torah and the genuine Kiddush Hashem that this Hachnasa Sefer Torah generated has brought a great Aliyas Neshama to Rafal ben Moshe, Began Eden Tehei Menuchasai. The Rambam tells us something very interesting. The Rambam tells us that when discussing the events of Yetzias Mitzrayim, you need to emphasize that the Ribono Shel Olam performed the miracles through the medium of Moshe Rabbeinu. You know, there's a big question about Moshe Rabbeinu. Why do we call him by the name Moshe? You know, Moshe is not a Jewish name. That's the name the daughter of the Pharaoh gave him. You know, the daughter of the Pharaoh came down to the Nile, and she's bathing in the Nile, and she sees this little baby floating in the Nile. This little baby that's wrapped up in a crib. His mother tried to protect him from the crocodiles, from the tides. And the Torah says she reached forth her arm. She drew him out of the water. Vatikra Shemoi Moshe ki min hamayim meshisihu. But that wasn't his Jewish name. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu had Jewish names. Moshe was like Eric, Jeffrey, Kevin. But that wasn't his real name. He had real names: Avigdar, Yekusiel, Yehonasan. His mother gave him a name at the Bris Milah. So why would we choose the name Moshe that the daughter of the Pharaoh gave him? You know, Moshe is the typical Jewish son-in-law. He's working for his father-in-law. He's tending to the sheep in the desert. And he sees a bush that's burning. And it's burning. And it's burning. You know, in Kutsk they would say that the bush was burning for a really long time. And people would pass by the bush. Maybe they would snap pictures. They would put it on their status. And then they would walk away. They had an appointment. The store was open. The market was open. Nobody really paid much attention to this burning bush. But Moshe Rabbeinu said, Asura na va'ere hamare hagadol hazeh madua lo yivarasneh. Moshe Rabbeinu said, hey, what's going on over here? Why is the bush burning and yet not being consumed? And the Ribono Shel Olam looks down from Shamayim. Ribono Shel Olam says, Vayar Hashem kisar lirois. I've been looking for a man like that. I've been looking for someone to stop and pause and ask themselves, why is the bush not burning? That's my man. Vayikra loy mitoy chasneh. Moshe hears the resounding voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But why does Hashem call him Moshe? Why not Avigdar? Why not Yekusiel? Why not Yehonasan? It's a big question. So I have a friend back from my yeshiva days, Ezra Gwertz. He's a grandson of Rabbi Berelwein. So he sent me a clip that Rabbi Wein said at a dinner to answer this question. You know, Rabbi Wein said that whenever he goes to Yerushalayim, he makes it his business to stop off in Yad Vashem, to visit the monument, the memorial to the 6 million who perished in World War II during the Holocaust. And on one occasion, he was told that there was a new memorial in Yad Vashem in the Holocaust Museum, a children's memorial. And it was a memorial to the 1.5 million Jewish children who were killed in the Holocaust. Just think about it for a moment. 1.5 million Jewish children. How many more times that is than any big yeshiva in the world today? So of course there's a Jew in Beverly Hills. His name is Spiegel. And Spiegels, they're Hungarian Jews. And 80 years ago, he went to Auschwitz with his wife and his 5-year-old son. 10 months later, he comes out of Auschwitz all alone. He comes to the United States. He comes to Los Angeles. He became an extremely successful entrepreneur. He owns a lot of real estate. He has retail establishments. And he wants to make a memorial for his 5-year-old son. So he goes to Yad Vashem with $4.5 million. He says, I would like to make a memorial for my 5-year-old son. But not just for my son, I want to make a memorial for the 1.5 million Jewish children who were killed in the Holocaust. And since then, he gave $10 million to complete it, to endow it. So Rabbi Wein says he goes to the memorial, and he comes with his preconceived notions what a Holocaust memorial is supposed to look like. Probably there'll be recordings and maybe a video and statistics and shows and paraphernalia. And when he entered the memorial, he was completely stunned and unprepared for what he was about to see. You walk into a room, 8 to 10 stories high, 50 times the size of this room. And the room is pitch black. It's palpably black. You can't even put one foot in front of the other. It's viyamesh choshech. It's like makas choshech. And you walk into the room and your eyes cannot even take in the darkness. And your eyes begin to adjust. And in the middle of the room, there's one candle that's lit in the middle of this vast room of darkness. And by the genius of the designer and the architect of the museum, through reflections, through mirrors, this one candle becomes 1.5 million pinpoints of light in the vast sea of darkness. And there's a voice over it. There's a tape that plays. And the tape does nothing but recite names. Hillel Cohen, 3 years old, Vilna. Miriam Goldberg, 7 years old, Sarajevo. Names, 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 until you can't bear it anymore and you want to run out of the room. And Rabbi Wein said when he left that room, one thought remained with him. I didn't hear my name. My name was not on the recording. I was the same age as these kids. And if my name wasn't on the tape, then I could still do something. And I'm not going to give up. And if I could take another boy into my school, I'm going to do it. And if I have the opportunity to speak one more time, I'm going to do it. And if I have the opportunity to be mechazek one more child, I'm going to do it if my name is not on the tape. And then Rabbi Wein said, I thought to myself, that's exactly why the Almighty called him Moshe. Because every time Hashem called this man, he said, Moshe, you should have been long gone. You should have been eaten by the crocodiles. You should have been drowned by the tides. But I yanked you out of the Nile when thousands and tens of thousands of other children perished. You're a survivor, Moshe. Moshe, Moshe. And Moshe has no choice but to say, you got me. I'm a survivor. Hineni, here I am. Friends, do you think it's hyperbole when we read in the Haggadah, B'chol dar v'dar, Chayiv Adam Lirois Es Atzmoi Kihilu Hu Yatzami Mitzrayim. We read these words that in every generation we have to imagine ourselves as if we were in Egypt. And we ask ourselves, we weren't in Egypt? We live in America. But friends, if you're a Jew in 2025 and you survived Egypt, and Churban Bayis Rishon, and Churban Bayis Sheni, and crusades, and pogroms, and Holocaust, and October 7th, you know why every Jew has to imagine themselves that Chayiv Adam Lirois Es Atzmai B'chol Dar Vadar, because there's another B'chol Dar Vadar. What do we say in the Haggadah? B'chol Dar Vadar, Oimdim Aleinu L'chal Oiseinu. That's why B'chol Dar Vadar, Chayiv Adam Lirois Es Atzmai. And therefore we have to ask ourselves, so why am I still here? Why do I have the opportunity to build a Jewish family, to support a yeshiva in America? Why do I have that opportunity? Why did God choose me? Why did God yank me out of the Nile? And we have no choice but to turn to the Ribbon Shalom and say, you got me, Hineni, here I am. What could I do for you? 1946, Rabbi Wein likes to say the story. He was 11 years old. And his father said, Beryl, we're going to the airport. What's in the airport? A great rabbi is coming to the airport. Who's the great rabbi? Rabbi Isaac Halevi Herzog, chief rabbi of Palestine. I have a personal connection with Rav Herzog. My grandfather met Rav Herzog in the DP camps in 1945. And my grandfather confirmed what I'm about to tell you. Rabbi Herzog was a very aristocratic personality. He was a majestic personality. He wore a shiny top hat. He had a cane. He walked with a silver-covered Bible. And he alights from the plane, and he heads to the Skokie Yeshiva, where all the Bachrim in the Midwest were waiting for him, together with the Balabatim, together with the community, to greet this great rabbi, who proceeded to give a shiur in Yiddish for 45 minutes. When the shiur was over, Rav Herzog said, I would like to speak now and address the young men. Rav Herzog had been a rabbi in Ireland, in Dublin, so he spoke with a slight Irish brogue. He turns to the young men and he said, I just returned from Rome, where I had a personal audience with the Pope, with Pope Pius XII. I guess it's a Lashon Sagi Nahar. I had with me the names of 10,000 Jewish boys and girls whose parents gave them over during the Holocaust to churches, to monasteries, to priests, to guard, to watch their children, because the parents didn't think they would ever see these children again. And Rav Herzog has audience with the Pope, and he said, Pope, give us back the children. We're alive. We're here. They're ours. We have their exact names. Give us back our Kinderlach. And the Pope slammed the door on his face. The Pope said every single one of these children have been baptized. And according to our religion, once a child has been baptized, he can never return back to any other faith. So sorry, these children are lost forever. Says Rav Herzog, I pleaded, but to no avail. And Rav Herzog is standing there in 1945 in Chicago in front of 200 young American boys. And he's so overcome with emotion. He put his head down on the lectern and he wept bitterly. Rabbi Wein said it was the most frightening moment in the last 200 years in the world. Rav Herzog broke down in front of the entire audience. Moments later, Rav Herzog raises his head. His face was red. He was powerful like a lion. And he cried out to all the young men standing in front of him. There is nothing we could do for these 10,000 children. But I ask of you, young men, what are you going to do for the future of the Jewish people? What are you going to do for the children of Klal Yisrael? You're still with us. You still have the opportunity. What will you do for Klal Yisrael? And to me, this is not a story. My grandfather writes in his personal memoirs of the Holocaust that he met Rav Herzog in 1945 in the DP camps, and Rav Herzog told him he had just come back from meeting the Pope. Rabbi Wein says, every time he wants to give up, every time he's down, every time he's disheartened, he hears the cry of Rabbi Herzog ringing in his ears. What will you do for the future of the Jewish people? And that's what inspires, and that's what challenges, and that's what shapes the decisions in his life. Dear friends, a Jew has many responsibilities, but a Jew's primary responsibility is to ask, what will I do for the future of the Jewish people? What will I do for the children of Klal Yisrael? What will I do for Jewish continuity? And all you dear friends and supporters of Yeshiva Ketana of Los Angeles, you are answering that call. Because by partnering with this yeshiva, you are making a difference in this world. We saw today firsthand the power of Torah, the eternal power of Torah in 2025 to change children, to change neighborhoods, to change communities, to change the West Coast, to change the face of the Jewish people. Kol HaKavod, all of you, for coming out tonight before the Yom Tov of Pesach. I wish you all a Chag Kosher v'Sameach. Kol HaKavod for your past support. Even more important, Kol HaKavod for your future support. May Hashem bless all of you with nachas the kedusha from your families, from your children. May we all be zoicha to bracha v'hatzlacha, good health, mitach simcha v'nachas, ad bias goyel tzedek, b'mher v'yameinu. Amen.